and dogs all have in common.
Nails that need to be trimmed!
Howdy, and welcome to the Bar SC Ranch, where you will experience our journey of running a family business, caring for animals, and doing life together. Subscribe now and be inspired here at the Bar SC.
Today we're going to be showing you how we use these tools to trim all of these animals' nails. So we have smaller nail trimmers for your cats and your smaller animals, bigger nail trimmers for your dogs and bigger animals, and a blingy nail file.
It's really important to keep your animals' nails trimmed. Here at the ranch, we do it very often, and we do it for our animals' health and well-being.
Today we're going to take you through each one of these animals, a kitten or a cat, a chicken, a guinea pig, and a dog. We're going to show you how we use each one of these tools, and we're going to show you some tricks that we use to help safely restrain and keep our animals comfortable while we're in the nail trimming process. We hope this is really beneficial for you at home, as you might have these animals and may need to find yourself in a situation where you need to trim your own animal's nails. We're going to start showing you how to trim a cat's toenails. We're going to use Coco here. Coco is sometimes cooperative, sometimes a little harder to deal with. I was a veterinary technician for 12 years, and so sometimes if a cat's a little bit more difficult, it does help to start with just taking a feel of their scuff here and laying them down on the table. There are instances where we can just hold a cat in our arms, and we'll show you a picture of that later. But if a cat is going to be a little bit more difficult, it's nice to get a hold of this scruff and then put them on their side, and I'm going to help control their feet so that it's not hard for Maddie. The other thing I want to make sure is that Maddie's being aware of the mouth. Occasionally cats can come in and bite you, which is not helpful, or can be painful, very painful. So I'm going to make sure his mouth stays far away. Maddie is again going to be aware of where the quick is coming into the nail. And then Maddie, can you kind of show him how you push the toe out?
Yes, so cats have retractable claws, and so you can kind of feel there's a little joint on their toe, and you can use the bottom. And if you just straighten out their toe, you'll find that their nail will come out. You can trim it, and then it goes right back in when you release.
And Coco's gonna let us know if he gets super upset. He'll start growling, and then we might do nails later. We'll do them in phases sometimes. This is the nail trimming technique that we would use on a cat that's semi difficult to trim their nails. It's somewhat keeps them stress-free, and it definitely gets the job done. So thankfully Coco's not mad. He'll be just fine. He's gonna let us pick him up again later, but it's not his favorite day getting his nails trimmed.
This would be an example of a really easy cat now that Yoda is with his mom and is being just cuddled. Always an option, and now he's completely letting me trim his nails as Kylie holds them out for me. So you can see in here, that is the quick. Right where my nail is the edge of the quick right there. So I wouldn't want to cut any further back past that point, or else you would get a little bit of bleeding. And if you do get a little bit of bleeding, it's really far from their heart. It's not, it's a little pinch. A little pinch, no big deal. You can use cornstarch to stop up the bleeding.
You can buy a quick stop.
Yeah, my dog especially will just bleed everywhere, and all you've done is barely nick something and you think he's like dying. They're not, it's totally fine, and we're gonna try and cut in front of that spot. But if you do happen to cut back, don't beat yourself up over it, it's okay. Just next time know to go a little bit further down the end of the nail. So now we've gathered a few of our chickens, and trimming chicken nails is very similar to trimming your cat or your dog or your rabbit's nails. Same concept, you don't want to cut back past the quick, and we're just going to cut the tips off. Georgie's feet here are a good example of a length that we would then start to want to be trimming back some of these longer bits just a little bit. She has very normal toes, but as those toes get too long on a chicken that walks around on its 3 feet, their actual whole toe will start to curl and become a problem even once or even after you've trimmed the nail. Once that nail gets too long, the whole toe and foot can rotate a little bit. And that's not what happened with PJ, but PJ is a good example of a reason why we need to trim her nails. Her toes are curled under because of a genetic deformity. She was born like this. But if her nails get too long, or too sharp even, sometimes we have to just file them a little bit to keep them from being too sharp. She actually starts to cut her own feet with them because of the direction that her toes just naturally grow in. This is not what toes are supposed to look like, but this is what she was born with, so this is what we have to work with. So we make sure we trim hers super duper regularly because they don't wear down naturally as she walks around and scratches around like the other chickens would. So we'll show you what that looks like.
When we trim our chicken's toenails, we want to make sure that we're holding her nice and comfortably and securely so that they don't freak out. Peach here is shaking just a little bit because she always shakes. This is just
done
her
that since she was born.
Personality. So she's not afraid of what we're going to be doing, and she's not insecure, but I've got my hands in between her legs and I'm supporting her entire chest, and then I've got my hand over the top of her wings just to make sure she feels nice and secure. And then I'm going to hold her feet out like this for Ashley to go ahead and pull out and be able to access her toenails really easily. If that makes you uncomfortable, you could also do it from the front.
And I can do normally PJ if she's at home with me and I don't have Michelle and Kylie here to help. I bring PJ into my living room, sit in my big chair, and just put her on my lap and just sit there and trim it like that. If you've got a really chill chicken, it works. If you have a slightly crazier chicken and they're flying around, maybe get a second person. Or a larger chicken. These are very tiny chickens, so if you're trimming a bigger chicken, it's much harder to flip them into the position that you need with only one hand.
All right.
Okay. And if you zoom in here on her feet, you can see what her deformity has caused. This area is actually her toe that should be coming out in this direction. So instead, it's underneath other parts of her foot, which means that we need to be trimming these nails so that therefore she's not cutting herself with her toenails. And so with PJ's nails, you'll see that the pink part, or the quick, is a little bit longer than it is in some other animals, like the cats that we're showing you. But I'm still gonna do the same thing. I'm only gonna trim off the portion that is in front of that quick. I'm not going to trim it back further than it needs to. And if that quick is too long that I can't cut it back further and the nails are still too long, that means maybe for the next week or two, every couple of days, I need to come out here and shorten it just a little bit more, so that way that quick starts to recede. This toenail is an awesome example. You can see it really well. You can see the white tip and then the red back there. So what I would do is come in here and just trim off the little white part. And I can do even a little bit more than that. And another thing you can do if you're really unsure about your chicken or any other animal is get a Dremel. They sell Dremels at the pet store that are, I find, to be a little bit too low powered. For chickens, they work fine, but if you have a large dog, you're gonna be there for hours using this Dremel filing. But you can actually, if you have a Dremel for any kind of like home repair situation, and you use a lighter, what would that be called? Like the grade of paper, that works super well, and you're done super fast, so your animal's not sitting there vibrating away from you as you Dremel their toenails. So something that we like to do for PJ, since she does have this foot deformity, is take a nail file. This one is excessively blinged out. Any one that you have at home will work. It doesn't have to have the sparkles. But any old nail file, and we take it along the nail just as you would your nails on your own fingers, except with Peach, I'm careful to hold the base of the nail as I file. Otherwise, she does get a little bit more because I'm pulling on her toes, and since she does have this odd deformity with her toes, I try never to yank them around at all. So instead I hold down at the base and then I file, usually just in one direction. You could go back and forth, but I find that this is just as easy. And I'm able to get it down pretty fast. Another tool you can use that's basically an automatic nail file is that Dremel that we were talking about. And a Dremel is what looks like, almost like a nose hair trimmer, if you've seen one of those. And instead of the part at the top actually spins and has a little bit of grit to it. So it's like a sandpaper insert. And it spins up at the top, and you use that basically instead of having to move my file back and forth, I would just hold it up against her foot and the file itself would spin around and trim that nail down. So on PJ, that might be a little bit overkill. Those are usually a lot better on your dogs with the big thick nails. I find that works really well. On PJ, this is really low impact, low stress. We've used Dremels like that on cats before. It does work okay. But if you've got a cat that's really difficult to trim anyway, adding like a loud power tool into it doesn't normally make it better, but that works really well for dogs. So now we're here with our ranch dog, Faith, and as you can see, she's an absolute unit of a dog. She is ginormous. But the same concepts apply to, the Chihuahua that you have at home that are going to apply to Faith. It's just going to be a little bit easier to restrain a smaller dog than a larger dog. So you can start, small dogs, you can put them on your lap and just lay them down in the same manner. But with Faith, we're not going to put her on our lap. That would be insane. We're going to lay her on down onto the floor. And so if you've trained your dog to lay down, you can just ask your Faith, down, down. Just like so. If your dog doesn't want to lay down, if your dog likes belly rubs, especially like Faith, we can trim her nails just by sitting here and rubbing her belly. So if I sit here rubbing her belly, Kylie can sit there and start to trim her nails. If you did have a dog where it was an issue of them snapping at you or anything like that, what you would do is use your arms on these legs and put your body weight down onto the dog to be sure, especially dogs are unlike cats, their nails, you could get picked and I'm sure it wouldn't feel good, but it's not in the same manner of a cat cutting you open when they go for you. In a dog, it's really the head. So what I would do is put my body weight down here, holding her to the ground so that if she were to become unhappy with something that Kylie was doing back there, she couldn't then turn around and nip at her. And with a dog, if you're doing the front nails, you want to keep real close attention on the fact that Faith, we're very comfortable with, we know her, she's not going to bite us. But if I were to be doing her front feet here, I wouldn't want to do it with my face right down next to her, because if she does take offense to something that I've done, I'm in a position to be bitten really badly. So with a dog, the mouth is really the biggest, most dangerous point in their body. With Faith, not a dangerous dog, she's very chill. She'll sit here like, Kylie, you can start trimming. And you'll notice that I just rub her belly and she's fine. But for those dogs that are more difficult or are more unhappy with the situation, you want to use those restraining methods that we were just talking about. And being sure, even with Faith, as wonderful as she is, that as Kylie comes up here to trim her front feet, she's not going to put her face right in Faith's face. So Faith is what we would call polydactyl, which means that she has extra toes on her back feet. So you'll see these are 2 dew claws. Your dog at home may or may not have even 1 dew claw. Some dogs are either not born with them or have them removed when they're very small. Faith's breed, the Great White Pyrenees, is very prone to being polydactyl and having lots of these toes. It doesn't bother her in any which way, it just means you have more toes you need to trim, because these dew claws that she's going through and trimming are not on the ground. So you see Faith is like, whoop, you got a little close to the quick there. And so all she does, because she's very calm, very nice dog, is just go, hey, a little bit too close there and we're fine. But in your dog that maybe you don't know quite as well or you haven't done this for them, you want to be very careful that in those situations you have them properly restrained so that then they cannot come up and lean towards Kylie back here. My job is to keep Faith away from Kylie while she's trimming.
Guinea pigs are particularly fun to trim their nails. We're kind of kidding about that. They're a little squirmy, but we just like to keep them nice and comfortable. So we'll have Maddie kind of lay, this is Opal. He's gonna lay on his back. We're gonna use one of our sets of smaller nail clippers. These can be purchased at any feed store or pet store. We have found this one's a little bit heavier duty. It costs maybe $3 more and it's better. So
it lasts longer.
It lasted longer, yeah. So maybe think about that when you're trying to invest in nail trimmers. Sometimes the more heavy duty ones with better reviews, really it is worth the extra couple dollars. Just like with any of the other animals, we're going to look at their little toenails and see if we can find where the quick comes out and meets just the white part of the nail. Can you turn this way?
Yes.
Opal here has some dark nails, and so that makes it a little bit harder. I'm going to go ahead and start with those, but I'm just going to take a teeny bit off the top. And the quicker you can clip the nail off, the better. When they feel that kind of crushing pressure, that's what they don't care for. And that usually makes the animals a little bit more nervous. So I'll just do it real quick. Like that. And then again, because they're black and I can't see exactly where they're at, I'm gonna be conservative. I'm not going to, where the quick is. I'm not going to just cut super deep in there. What you can see, and I know it'd be really hard on camera, once you clip it, you can see where the quick kind of is starting. It's a little shiny circle in the bottom of that nail. So once I start to see that, I stop and I don't go any farther. And we've had plenty of success with that being short enough. So these ones are much shorter. He digs around in the backyard, so I'm just gonna take the very tips. And sometimes they jerk really quick, that's okay. And then the other thing we're making sure we're watching out for is that he doesn't bite. So I know he doesn't bite, but I'm keeping my hand up.
I can also
Kind of blocking that mouth so it doesn't come.
I can also put my hand here.
Well, just make sure you don't get in the way of his teeth.
I won't.
There we go. And so he has 4 little claws on the front.
And 3 on the back.
And 3 on the back.
Thanks so much for watching our video today on how we trim our animals' nails. We hope that we can be a resource for some of you all. If you have any questions, please go ahead and leave that in the comment section. We would love to help out any way that we can. And we hope that you learned a little bit about how to trim some nails. Have a wonderful day, and we hope you check back for more fun videos.
We'll see ya! If you enjoyed this video, we'd love to hear from you. Like and subscribe and leave comments about what you might like to see in future videos. We'll see ya back on the ranch.